All right, well, I always tag myself as the flying realtor, so.
You're the flying realtor. Yeah, that's true. So we almost went to the same high school. We didn't exactly grow up in the neighborhood, but our moms were friends.
We didn't go to the same high school.
I know we didn't. I said we almost went to the same high school.
Oh, I guess. Not hardly. You were on the other side of town.
The other side of Portland, okay?
I was in the shittiest high school in the state.
There's no way that was true.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's the shittiest I'm pretty sure. Reynolds High School sucks. Especially now.
Reynolds. Anyways, so you went to the Air Force.
In 2009, December 15th of 2009.
Yeah. And are you still doing inspections for them? Or did you stop that finally?
No, I'm in the reserves.
So you're still inspecting B-52s?
Still doing it in the reserves part-time.
It was the funniest shit. I think it's sad and true, but the funniest shit you ever told me about it is you say you just go in there, you like look at the planes, and you're like, yeah, that's broken. Good luck with that. Is it still kind of...
I'm a jack of all hats and a master of none, but honestly what I do is go in, do nothing, work on real estate on an average weekend, go home, get paid, get my medical benefits.
Nice. Yeah.
So, yep, that's pretty much what happens. Sometimes we have work, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we do have work, but we work like half a day, and I mean, just being in the reserves is a different deal.
For sure.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's really different from most people doing real estate here in Portland and Shreveport, Louisiana, right?
Yep.
Talk to me about income real estate. I know like you bought at one point, like what was that, a parcel of like 10 or 20 rentals, or...
I bought 17 properties all at once as a package. Technically went under contract for $800,000 on it. 16 of the 17 are duplexes. The other one was just a free lot that just got thrown into the deal, vacant lot. And they're in pretty bad shape. Half of them are rented. This year I've spent probably $30,000+ or more fixing them up, and that's a lot of money for what I call crack housing. We're talking $300 and $400 a month rent per door. That's pretty low.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
And that package appraised for over $1 million when the guy bought it previously, but when I bought it, it only appraised for like $820,000, I think. But I had a commercial appraisal done on it, and he had standard individual residential appraisals done. Mm-hmm. But we did a seller second, so I didn't have to put a single bit of money down. We sold it for more, but instead of him netting the profit, he created a note with me. We recorded it at the courthouse, mm-hmm. and then we did the bank and stuff. That was my down payment. So the bank was like, "Oh, that's your down payment," and he was a second lien holder, but he's like, "I'm not charging you for it." Oh, wow. So this is his redheaded stepchild, the guy I bought it from, and he's in hospital developments, doing $40-50 million or more hospital developments in other places around the country. So quite honestly, that it was a redheaded stepchild for him. And anyway, so here I am. It doesn't matter. Those properties are probably some of my worst as far as cash flow goes, but we'll see how the next 6 to 12 months go on them. I'm finally down to one property that needs to get fixed up, so I have 2 more doors to fix up. Mm-hmm. And turn her on and get them rented. But, I mean, we're lucky if we keep a tenant in there for 6 to 12 months.
Oh, it's that short?
Yeah, with management. Oh, yeah. I mean, these are people that have nothing to lose. I mean, they either do or don't have a high school education. They barely have a job. And most of my low-income tenants live on the government. So most of them have a bunch of kids. In fact, people in the area where I'm at, in the school system, it's so broken down there. In Louisiana, they teach these people to go get like subsidies for having kids. So a lot of these people have kids just back to back to back to back. And
like in the school they teach them that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's broken. So it's Louisiana. It's crooked and broken. And so people are always like, "Oh, well, what happens if a downturn in the economy?" I'm like, dude, most of my tenants are
almost have jobs anyways.
Yeah, most of them didn't have jobs in the beginning. They live on the government, so they get a government check. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they're more than likely going to end up paying me. And And then I do have some other, I would call, I do have some, maybe like a couple of A's. Most of them are like C to B's classes if you want to do that.
I've been there.
I don't know. Most of my stuff is less than a C. I don't even think there's a D class property, but we're talking like super low. Most of it's low. You don't go there at night, you're going to get shot. In fact, a lot of stuff in Shreveport, it's not an exaggeration. There's 4, 5, 6, 7 shootings a night that cops have to get called out on in Shreveport. So
that's crazy.
It's terrible. Yeah, but it's, people are like, oh, I'm so scared of it. I'm like, dude, how can you be scared of a $20,000 house? What is it going to happen? For instance, I just made an insurance claim we had a hurricane come through, and, it was actually one of the worst hurricanes as far as damage goes in our area. I don't remember which one, but it was earlier this year. And a tree fell on top of the roof, and I was hoping that thing just pummeled the property when I got the phone call.
You wanted it to be totaled?
Yeah, because I would end up coming out ahead.
Sure.
Because the property's worth or insured for like $80,000. I only paid $40,000 for it.
Sure.
But I couldn't go sell it to someone today, and that's the difference between the Northwest and most of these high demand areas in the country and Louisiana is a lot of properties I buy have what I call phantom equity. So you buy it. So I bought a package of properties last year. I bought, I think it was 11. I guess it was 11 properties in a package. And that package with the duplex that I bought that I cross-collateralized on a commercial loan. Most of my stuff's through commercial loans. I don't do Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. I don't do any of that crap because you can't make money.
You're doing different stuff.
You're gonna pay out the ass on fees. You just can't do it. There's too many guidelines and rules and all this crap, and you can't grow as fast. So
and again, you're talking about like $20,000, $40,000, $80,000 single properties or duplexes.
Less than that, I'll tell you.
Less than that.
Yeah, I paid an average of just over $23,000 a property, and I bought 11 single family houses.
Okay.
Several of them were on slabs. One of them I think appraised in that package for $65,000. It's actually in a decent area. I probably could honestly turn around and sell it for twice what I paid for it. Probably. More than likely. I've been on the inside of it, and when I bought these, like people up north, it's funny. This is what I've noticed because I'm from up north, but I live down there, but I'm very successful in our market. I'm easily in the top 10% of people, agent-wise, easy. And then also investor-wise, I have a lot. And I meet people that come across and get all arrogant with me, and I'm like, okay, and you have how many? Oh, you have 5? Okay, well, I have 60 plus. And I'm 30 and I don't have any partners in anything. So I don't have an attitude about it. But my point is people up here, they love to control things. Like, maybe not everyone, but I meet a lot of investors that want to control. Like, they love to just, like, be all hands in it. Like, for me, one of the things I've had to learn is you just have to step back and let management do their job. So when I bought most of these, I let my property manager go through most of them. I didn't buy.
Yeah, I met him, didn't I?
No, I don't think you did.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't when we were going around your cracky houses? There was like 2 different guys. One of them was like a.
Did you?
Yeah, you told me down. He was the guy who's going to make it work for you.
That's right. You did come down. You may have met him, Chris. Anyways,
I can't remember what his
name was. So anyways, but yeah, so but like when I bought them, I didn't walk through them. Like some people, like I would never buy a property and walk through. Hey, you just got to have trust in the people that you work with. If you don't, then you shouldn't be working with them in the first place.
Yeah, and we cracked the door on one of them.
Management is not going to do as good of a job as I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So if I manage these properties myself, they would be less turnover, less vacancies. Even a buddy of mine who's one of my contractors, he's very successful. He's about to start a $120,000 remodel here on a house for me. But he manages quite a few of his own. But I think I think he probably does a really good job because I talked to him and he keeps a lot of his going and he rents them out for like the amount of money he gets for some of his houses just make me go, oh my God. But a lot of his houses are like way nicer than even some of his houses or his rent houses are nicer than my own house that I live in.
All of the Portland metro area home prices, like I'm making up a number, don't like yell at me if I'm wrong, but I would say this year home appreciation has probably been like 10-15%, something stupid.
That's crazy.
Except for downtown Portland, condos in general are just about even, just a little bit up, but downtown Portland down, and North Portland, literally anywhere you can smell tear gas from is really the epicenter.
Yeah.
And then now there's I don't know if it's affected home prices, but there was there's this house in Portland called the Red House, and there's an occupation around it, which I think is over now. But I don't know. I'm sure it hasn't. If you were trying to sell a house near there, that was probably not great for you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy up here. People are weird up here. But people are weird down south too. It's a different culture. It's just it's like night and day. Like it's polar opposites end of this spectrum. But anyways, no, I was going back to the contractor. I was saying so he has good success, but he still has high turnover. That's my whole point on his houses. Sometimes he'll keep some of his tenants in there a while, but his houses are also nicer. Mine look like shit from the outside, and once you go on the inside, they're all right. They're outdated, but you'd be surprised what we rent out down there. It's crazy. For instance, I just sold my aunt and uncle. They live over in Washougal. I sold them a house. They paid $24,000 for it, or maybe it's $24,500, same difference. And they dropped in $5,000, and they're so not used to the process of being so hands off. This is the whole, like, what I'm talking about, being people like, oh, hands on. Like, I gotta be there. I gotta go, like, do inspections. Like, no, you don't do that. If the money's coming in, you just don't worry about it. And, but what if they destroy the house? I mean, like, what is there to destroy, dude? It's like this room that we're standing in. It's just an old junky house. Like, there's nothing to destroy. Oh, a hole in the wall? Big deal. It's just sheetrock. Go fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot for someone to destroy, but it is crazy. So going back even further to what we were talking about earlier, so I think I'm making like
we don't have to talk about that part.
$6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 on a house that a tree fell on, but really
for the insurance thing.
Yeah, but I mean, most of these houses, if they burn up, it's a straight up payday. So because I have them insured for what they appraise for, and they appraise for more than what I paid for.
Way more than you paid for.
But here's the thing down there, I love it when northern people try to come to me like, oh man, but the appraisal, and I'm like, dude, we can do whatever you want, but it's not going to sell for what it appraised for.
Yeah.
So like appraised value and sales value are two different things, but and generally your sales value down there is less than your appraised value. Probably up here, your sales value is maybe higher than your appraised value up here.
That happens a decent amount of the time now. Yeah, and in the last year, I've had like 5 homes come in, appraise under the.
We've had a lot too, like a
purchase.
shitload of them. I just had one that just an appraiser call. I think I had like 3 or 4 appraisers call me yesterday, and one of them's gonna come in low, but I knew it was, so I'm just like, not even shocked.
Well, and of that 5, the appraiser was definitely right about 2 of them. Like, definitely. Like, one was an investment property where the rent
sometimes
amount
you
didn't
get some
make sense.
stupid appraisers, man.
And another one was just a very fancy condo in one of the nicest neighborhoods in Portland that was just too expensive to like make sense. I mean, it was really nice.
Yeah.
But when that happens, the buyer and sellers basically just met in the middle.
Yeah.
Whatever. Especially at that price range that they were doing it at.
Yeah. We most of the time a seller just comes down to most of the time,
usually,
unless the house is unique.
Yeah.
And it's a higher end price point, and it's like, for instance, it's got a shop, but the appraiser isn't given enough credit for that shop.
That's the kind of thing.
But it's a rare opportunity. Then a lot of times you can leverage that buyer to do it, but in most cases you're not gonna get the buyer to do it if it's just some like Joe Blow house in just a average Joe neighborhood. Well, especially the seller's gonna have to bring that appraised value down.
Well, especially on conforming financing, the amount of cash people actually have when they need to do the minimum 3 or 5 or whatever, or even if they're doing 20% down to make the deal work.
Yeah.
If the appraisal comes in $50,000 low for I don't know, they offered like $540 or whatever, and it came in at $490. Most people can't just front that cash buyer side anyways. So if it's somebody with money who just wants that property enough, meeting in the middle is like the worst I've seen for the buyer. It's really funny too because buyers and buyers agents are constantly. I get asked about like, what are we gonna do if the appraisal comes in low? And I'm like, whoa, let's get the appraisal and then worry about it.
Why do buyer's agent? That's because the agent sucks. So if the agent's having to ask the lender what's going on, it means they don't sell enough houses. That's what it means.
Well, on the appraisal question, what I try to tell people is just don't borrow a problem from the future that might not even happen because they want to like strategize a problem that doesn't exist yet.
That's crazy.
And probably won't because that doesn't happen. 60 deals happened to 5 of them, and 3 of them we actually had the appraisal
You really
fixed.
have agents ask you like, what are they gonna do?
All the time.
Dude, that's crazy, man. Like, That's crazy. Wow. Well, it's really not. My aunt taught me early on. My aunt in Salt Lake City's a broker, 45 plus years as a broker.
Yeah.
And she told me early on, and I didn't believe her, but I believe her more and more and more every day that goes by. 15 to 20% of the agents are going to do 80 to 85% of the work in business out there, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
So in our market, we've got 1,200 agents, but dude, I deal with, like, for instance, I'm just going to throw Keller Williams under the bus. Dude, Keller Williams will take anyone and everyone in our market, period. They will. They'll take any agent. So, like, if they do one deal a year or one deal every 2 years, they're going to keep them on their roster. Like, they're going to keep them in their brokerage firm.
Yeah. I think
our brokerage firm, they've turned down people just because they know that there's a history or whatever.
Well, it's like,
it's funny because I deal with a lot, and I'd say half the time I'm dealing in a transaction, maybe close to half of the 50% of the time, it's like a problem with dealing with the agent because they don't know what they're doing. And I mean, we've all been there, like we all had to learn and stuff. But man, like some of these people, it's just crazy that when you deal with a real estate agent, like, oh my gosh, you don't know what you're talking about. But that's why I say, like, I tell people all the time that are in the business, like, why are you not buying rental houses? You're, like, absolutely brain dead. Especially in our market. It's like, dude, you don't have to spend a lot of money to, like, acquire a bunch of rental houses and make money. And you got to be disciplined about it and whatever. Yeah. But I love it. Some people, they can't get past, like, someone living in a house and, like, oh my God, they damage it and you have to pay for it. Like, I mean, that's just, you got to look at it long term. So rentals are a long-term shot. A lot of people want to make that quick money and stuff, but they're not willing to do what it takes. In fact, this is one of my pet peeves. Now you got me on my thing. So I love it when people come to me and they want to invest, and I'm like, I'll help you invest. But then as soon as I find them a deal, they're asking me like every question in the book. I'm like, dude, you don't need to ask me. Like, I've gotten to the point where I know what I'm talking about and I know it so well that I know the market. So like, if you want this deal, I tell them like, I need to know now, or I'm calling the next person as soon as I get off the phone. Yeah. Because, like, the problem is, as an agent, I'm not going to go let someone lowball a deal and then not and make that exclusive for one client if they're going to lowball the hell out of the deal and not, like, try to go in as high as we can go to get the deal. And I'm not saying that you need to pay, like, a bunch of money for a specific investment, but, like, there's just times where I know this property is undervalued. Mm-hmm. So period end done. Like, there's going to be 15, 20 offers. So why are you dicking around trying to go below all of that? And then maybe you won't even end up in the highest and best round. They might not even invite you in on that. They'll just reject you out and then bring, it's stupid. So I only deal with people that, like, jump when I say jump, sit when I say sit, and let's go. Because, like, my aunt and uncle, for instance, I sold them 2 houses. So they paid, just this is going to blow your mind. They paid $24,000. They put another $5,000 or $6,000 in it because it had, like, old shitty hardwood floors, but, like, some pipe or something was leaking behind the bathtub or whatever, and they had to go back and fix that. That was supposedly fixed, but that's another thing too. I love it when people, like, spend forever trying to, like, go back and say, well, the seller didn't do this after they bought it. I'm like, dude, does it really matter? Like, hurry up and fix it, move on. Like, people dwell on just dumb stuff. They always ask me, like, how am I so successful? Part of it is, like, I've been in those positions where I bought a property and I was like, I thought this was fixed or this, and I was like, who cares, just fix it. Like,
well, you know what I would call what you're saying is you have what I would say like a business / wholesale mindset.
You can't, and most people have small problems.
Have the retail mindset. And, you know, with my channel, what I try to bring people like the get rid.